Okay, we're going to look at just a couple little edits on the pictures I took in that Lightroom or the Lightbox. I'm going to do this in Photoshop, and then I'm also going to do another video in on photop.com just to kind of show you how those are working. They are both really similar. The online one is going to be a little slower. It's going to have some issues. It's an online program, so just keep that in mind. But some of you might not have the ability to use Photoshop. So we're just going to look at one of these images. I think we're going to do this one here. It's kind of the nice thing with using a Lightbox, where we're just trying to do this nice professional clean advertisement photo. We shouldn't have a whole lot to do as far as edit wise. So the first thing you can see here is I'm not really quite symmetrical on it. I have a couple things I could do. I could just crop this in a little bit to make that side a little bit more symmetrical, like so. Even that up a little bit. I think this, oops, I think this side needs to be a little bit more. So now maybe just take a little off the top. Then I'm just going to hit OK. And then we're just going to look at our basic edits like we typically do. Sorry. We're going to go through and duplicate our background, so Control J, and then Control plus. I'm going to zoom in, and let's just go through and make sure, using our Band-Aid tool, so I hit J, that we don't have any issues. If we're going to have this nice white background, we want to make sure it's really clean. So we're just going to hold spacebar to get the hand down, and I'm just going to click and go through it. Let's make sure we're okay. And it's looking pretty good. Shouldn't be too much. Just as something for you to know, this is a vase that I made. Okay, so now we can go through and we'll just grab our levels first. And we're going to come, I'm just going to pull in those darks just a little bit more. I want that, the dark values, I'm looking kind of down in here. And then let's see what happens if we pull our whites in just a little bit. So now if we look at our before and after, and we get a little bit more contrast in that vase, a little more excitement out of it. Now let's just look at our basic curves with it. I'll pull my darks down just a little bit more. The highlights, in this one the highlights are pretty good. I don't really want to brighten them up too much, so I'm probably going to leave those the same, but I don't really like right here this highlight on the vase. It's a little too bright for me, so I'm going to grab another curves, and I'm going to grab my highlights up here, and I'm going to pull it down. In fact, I kind of think that whole vase maybe looks a little bit better there. So I'm going to hit B. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's hit G to get my paintbrush. Now if we look over here, it's the gradient tool. So I'm going to hit Shift G and keep doing that. If I'm hovering over it, it's not going to show. What I want is the paint bucket. Okay, so I want right here this paint bucket with black paint on top. And I'm just going to paint the whole thing, so you can see over here my curves adjustment layer that it is all black now, so I don't have any of that layer showing that I just lightened up. So I'm going to take my paintbrush by hitting B. See, I have my brush. I'm going to hit X so that white paint is on top. I'm using the left bracket to make my brush a little smaller. And now I'm going to just come in and paint this face. Just going to do it a real quick over it. And now I'm going to hit backslash. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit and make this edge a little bit more fine-tuned. So let's make this brush a little smaller. My white paint and kind of actually get closer to the edge of this. Now in this case, I'm going to let it kind of feather out a little bit. You can see that kind of white line right around here. For right now, I'm going to leave it. You can also kind of see there's a red kind of fading in. That's really what I'm taking care of right now. But I want to let this feather out so it kind of starts to I guess, blend into that background a little bit. That is the other nice thing with using this light box is we have that nice white background. We don't have to worry about it too much. Let's see. Again, I'm just kind of following down this. A little bit of red down here still. Now if I hit backslash, it'll take that away. Control 0, and I zoom back out. Now if I want to see where I started from, if I hold Alt, and I come down here to my layer 1, and I hold Alt, and I click on the eyeball, it'll hide all those other layers. So you can kind of see what we have there. We've darkened it up a little bit, and you know, that might be a little too strong. So I'm going to come back up here to my curves layer where I darken that. I'm going to turn the opacity down on it a little bit. Mostly because right in here just looks a little dark. So I turn that down. If we look at it now, I think that's a little better. It still might be too dark right there in the center. Which, to be fair, is part of this glaze. The way it's glazed, it kind of has this dark pattern throughout it. But I'm going to switch to my black paintbrush and now take my opacity up here and turn it down right around there. And now I'm just going to come in with a little larger brush, and this area that's a little too dark for me, I'm just going to paint black right in here. Now it's just barely, it's just putting 22% black over it, so it's pretty faint. If I hit my backslash, you can see there's a red hue over it. Now I'm going to do it again, so I let go of the mouse. I'm going to paint black over it again, and it's going to apply another 22% blackness over that. So it's hiding even more of that layer. So if we kind of look over here, you can see we have that gray shape there. You can see that's where I've been painting the black. If I hit backslash, you can see it's getting a little darker. So now if we look at the before and after there, we can just kind of darken that a little bit without making this area a little too dark there. Really, for this one, that's really all I need to do. There isn't much more to this one to edit. It's really the beautiful part about doing these light boxes is you get a really nice soft light across it. I am going to sharpen it though. So if you remember, I'm going to flatten this image first. So Control-Shift-E, then Control-J, duplicate it again. I'm going to go up to Filter, Other, High Pass. I'm going to turn this up until I can just kind of see my image coming through, which on this one's probably right around there, about a 3.0. Then I'm going to change my normal to hard light. I'm going to zoom in to at least 50%. And then I'm going to look at my before and after. And if it looks pixelated, I will turn it down to soft light. In this case, let's go up to vivid light and see what the difference there is. I think that one's a little strong. So I think hard light's right where we're going to want to be. You can kind of see the before and after there. Control 0, and then I would just go and save it. And that's all there is to it. You can see if we have the right lighting source, it can make it really quite a bit easier for us.